guys, what we're doing is you're going to hear a bunch of noise in the background because we're actually back here in the shop, but we're actually making a set of small riffles to go inside of that big 4-inch dredge. Just simple modified Clarksons. And we're doing them a little bit different. One is, you know, maybe 5 degrees back, one is maybe 10 degrees, one is maybe a little bit steeper. But again, we're playing with those different angles, and we're going to expose the material to different angles on the riffles. I'm not going to make every single riffle the same. Each riffle that I do, and I'm going to have 3 of these, is going to have a little bit different velocity of a vortex. If gold doesn't get caught behind the number 1, well, why not? Let's change the vortex and let's change the size a little bit. Let's change the action. We just tack welded it, and I'll show you that. But we're just tack welding, just cheap old modified Clarksons. But each one of these angles is a little bit different on this. So I might have one that's a little less steep back here, one that's the middle one has more of an angle back on it, and this one is sort of a moderate one. But pretty big old riffle tray. Smaller size riffles than most people are used to. It works well, and it's going to go inside that, and I'm going to show you that the changes we've made to that sluice as well too. So anyways, I'm going to take you in close. I'm going to grab the camera and I'm going to take you in close on this, on the new large sluice that we're making. I'm going to show you a few of the changes, and we constantly play with it, and I wanted to show you some of the things we're doing with the matting and expanded metal and the riffle trays. So I'm going to take it in and I'm going to show you real close from hand. Alright, so you've seen the dredge running, and here are a couple of the changes we made. Number 1, we're going to hold it in a little bit differently. We've actually got a L bracket that's going to squeeze down on this because this is such a huge mat. There's a whole bunch of force, so we're going to hold it in tighter with this little L bracket and wing nut it in. But the mat starts off as UR mat, runs UR mat down about 48 inches, and then goes into the scrubber mat all the way down to the end. But I wanted to show you, we've been playing with this, and I'm going to show you a setup, and you can use this in your dredges or high bankers, however you want to do it. But Doug, go ahead and put that 48-inch in. Alright, so now I've got, this is where the header box is going to be. The header box will sit right here, and all the material crashes down. And there's a whole bunch of turbulence in here. There's not a lot of velocity going forward. And this is what I want to take advantage of. I want to take advantage of this area where there's a ton of velocity going on. It's just all fluidized, and this is a fluid bed. Before it starts running forward and picking up speed, this is what we're concentrated on. So I've got UR mat, then I've got a 1/2 inch, and this is raised expanded, never use flat, raised expanded. So now Doug's going to put on the 1/4 inch. And what we made was we made a 1/4 inch we took a piece of 1/4 inch raise that we're now going to set on top of the 1/2 inch. And if you look at this, you'll be able to see what happens. And it really does create like a super fluidized bedrock situation where this 1/4 inch will keep a lot of the larger rocks, because there's a little bit of a flow this way from settling into the 1/2, but there's just an amazing amount of holes for this to be captured in. And a lot of people, when you shut this down, a lot of people don't understand is there's going to be a lot of material here, but this is all active. It's constantly jostling around in here. So we've got the 1/2, we've got UR mat, 1/2 inch, and then 1/4 inch. And that stops right about here. And by the time it reaches about here, it has velocity forward. So the next thing we're going to do is just grab that riffle tray. We've got these smaller modified Clarksons. We've got these smaller modified Clarksons that we've made. So as the material comes off here, it's going to hit. You're going to have a vortex. And this vortex, with all this speed in the water, is pretty large. It'll take up about this area here. And we let it settle back down and actually go over this and allow the UR and expanded to do its own job before it hits another riffle. Hits another riffle, it's going to come in, create a vortex. There's plenty of places for that gold to hide in here, out of the current, protected, and this will be constantly jostling Then it's going to go over. You'll see that hump in here when it runs. You'll see it settle back down. It's going to do its normal job here because there's going to be velocity over this. Hit and fall over. Then we go over and then it's going to hit the scrubber mat. So this is the whole principle of why keep doing the same thing over and over again. So we're constantly taking advantage of different areas, different velocities, different things happening inside of our sluice. So it's the UR mat all the way down to the scrubber mat. We come over here, we've got this fluidized chamber with lots of places to hide. Once the velocity picks up, we're using riffles that are expanded in UR, going down the scrubber, and good luck for any gold trying to get out of there. That's a neat little look at. You'll see this running next time we do it. It's kind of hard to get a depth perception on the angle of these things, but this is a moderate angle. This is a higher steep pitch angle here, and then this is a lower angle. You'll have more material build up here with less of a vortex. This one you're going to have a very strong vortex. The material's going to be worth a lot, and this one's going to be in between. So again, this is why personally I like to expose it. If it didn't get caught here, which is probably your standard modified Clarkson setting, well, let's expose it to a real high velocity vortex. If it doesn't still get caught here, let's expose it to this, which is a low velocity vortex, and then it's going to change over to scrubber now. Okay, so we went ahead and just threw the header box on here so you can see this just as sort of how it's going to run. But again, you've got UR mat, ½ inch, then ¼ inch, and then here's your header box. Now, we've increased the angle on this. It's going to come in here, the water's going to shoot in here. This is a steeper angle now. Every once in a while we were having rocks hold up here for a little while. This will fall off a lot easier. But everything falls into here. It's pre-classified to ½ inch. Nothing larger than ½ inch goes through here. It's going to all fall down. And it all falls down into here, and this becomes a real turbulent area right under the header box. Slow moving turbulent water, and then it picks up speed right in here. So this is, because it's so turbulent, we're going to use this triple stage screening. Then it's going to come down here, it builds up its speed, hits the ramp, hits a riffle, comes down, hits a riffle, settles down over this, hits a riffle, settles down over this, and then it goes to a scrubber mat. But this is a real good setup. I'm just really excited to go out and take this out. We're catching a ton of fine gold in here as well as large gold, but this should be able to allow us to run this whole system. We should be able to run 3 to 4 hours straight without even thinking about cleaning up. Okay guys, so I'm going to talk here a minute about expanded metal. And there seems to be some confusion on this, so I want you to look at this. This is flat expanded metal, so when you run your fingers across it, it's flat. Now this is a scrap piece, so it's bent, but they're end to end, they're completely flat. Things can roll across this, and this is flat. Flat and expanded. This is flat and ½ inch. Now I want to show you. The raised expanded metal, and you can see the difference. If they're stacked, it's essentially they stretch that and they turn it into raised, and you're going to see that you've got these pockets here. As water comes down and flows over here, it's going to create a little vortex in here, and that's raised. You always use raised expanded metal whenever you're dealing with R mats or just about anything that's out there in a sluice. And the water flows this way. I've seen a bunch of people have the water flow this way, and what ends up happening is the water catches this and blows down in and blows out everything that's down there. This is designed to create a gentle little vortex and protect what's below it. So your water flow is going to come this way across it, creating little cascades and waterfalls, and not flow this way. But there seems to be some confusion on that. So I wanted to go ahead and real quick just try and get a shot of this so you can see it. The difference between raise and flatten and which way you put it in. So this is This is a sheet. It's going to come down here. It's just like this. The water's going to flow down it just like this. So again, take a look at it. You can see how it would create, as the water comes across, it's going to create a little vortex in here. And the water, gotta lose focus here, the water is going to flow this way down your sluice. I've seen so many people have this in backwards. And what ends up happening is the water catches from here, shoots down, and blows out your mat. I saw a guy dredge for a whole week that way, and all he got was 1 gram the whole week. So don't do that. Alright, again, excuse the noise, we're back here in the shop, but I did want to show you this little trick too. This is a 4-inch suction nozzle. When you go to put suction nozzles inside hose, they're usually really tight, and it's real hard to get them in and out. So what we do is we use, this is Jack's lube, Formula 327, but it's really a non-petroleum based lube that stays, even in cold weather, you'll still be able to get it out, but it stays on there. It feels like it's not lubricated because it's so hard and sticky, but it stays on there and works really well. And we'll put this here all the way around and come up to where we want the hose to be. And then we'll spin this inside just like this is. We'll spin it inside. Of course, you're going to put your clamp on. Now, when you put your clamp on, here's a little tip. I'm going to come over to the intake side of this, or the header box connection side of this. We wrap our hose with Gorilla Tape about 3 or 4 times before we put this clamp on. And so we wrap it so that when we clamp this, this doesn't cut into the hose. It's a good little tip. It saves a lot of time, but it just gives a little protection from these sharp edges from biting into that hose. Here's one more thing I wanted to show you too on our intake. Now this intake goes into the main engine, into the main pump, sucks water out of the creek or river, hangs down inside it. But what we did, instead of just having a regular intake screen, this is what you normally have. A lot of time this will drag along the bottom and get leaves all in it. And vegetation and leaves are probably your biggest worry about this because it reduces your intake down. So what we do is we just take a 2-gallon bucket with a lid on it. We punch a hole through this lid, feed it through, and put it here. Now, you'll notice that there is wire at the bottom, the 2 holes, and we put a 4-pound lead weight at the bottom, feed it through the wire, and then tie it here so that this stays at the bottom down here. Also, that lead weight keeps this sinking down, and so if there's river current, the bucket doesn't swim like this in the river, it actually still stays facing down in it too. And then all we did is we cut some larger holes in here, and we just took some, this is probably 1/4-inch mesh screen, and we just work it around. We just use Gorilla Tape on it. We don't put any holes on the bottom because sometimes it'll sit on the bottom. But it's just sort of a double barrier for that vegetation. Where the vegetation, large leaves won't come through here. Goes inside, and they have just a double screen on there, and it works really, really well. Never, ever, ever have any issues. So that's pretty good. And that'll go again. That's the intake for our engine for our 4-inch dredge. Hey guys, a lot of people have been asking if you can convert this, our new Mini, into a dredge, so I just wanted to show you real quick that it's pretty easy to do. The hard part about this is actually finding the parts. You have to go out and you have to find the different parts for it, but I just wanted to show you. Just simply remove that main piece of plumbing that goes in here, and then you're going to take a 2-inch attachment. Joby actually sells these. You can order them online, several different places, but you put a 2-inch. This plumbing hole here was made 2.1 inches so that you could actually go in here and attach it on the inside. You'll need to loosen up these actual hose attachments. And once you loosen up those hose attachments, you'll be able to drill 2 holes in here and put wing nuts and attach it. Then your dredge hose comes in here. Put this inside here and it acts the same way as a regular dredge setup. You attach your dredge hose here, everything goes in here, it reverses course and comes over the skimming trays. All the larger rocks will exit out of here, the gold will be skimmed in and come in through here. So it's pretty easy to convert it over to 2-inch dredge, but I wanted to show you that because we're going to be attaching this, we're going to be running the Mini as a 2-inch dredge next week while we're running the big ones as well too. Then I did want to show you too, I wanted to show you the inside guts of this, and this one's real dirty because I haven't cleaned it since the last time I ran it, so I'm going to grab it to show you how we have it. It's the new setup as far as the Mini goes. Alright, so here it is with the dredge attachment, and I haven't attached the attachment in with bolts yet, but you can see that the water is going to shoot into this tray. It's going to settle in here. It's going to turn, come back around, go over these skimming slots, 3/8, 1/4-inch slots here, and all the gold will be pulled out here. All the larger rocks are going to exit out of here. And then it comes in. The first thing it hits once it comes in, this punch plate. Fine gold is going to fall through here, be trapped in a fluid bed underneath here. This is just loose in here. This accelerates that water down a little bit. It helps accelerate that water a little bit. And we're shipping the Minis now with 50% of UR, half scrubber. You can see how dirty this is. I haven't even cleaned it out. But it goes over 1/2-inch expanded metal, then it goes over into scrubber mat down here. So that's how we're shipping them out now. But again, we're always playing, always changing. But this is the final setup on it. Your 1/8 punch plates, they're always going to get these little pieces of gravel stuck in here eventually. It's no big deal. You just rub them out when you clean out from the bottom up.